Welcome back to the farm. My name's Roz, also known as Passion Flower, and you'll find me here each week talking about my farming and creative life. We have some horses here that we adjust on the farm, so generally we don't need to take care of them in any way. They just graze out in the paddock and their owners come and look after them. But this week there was a bit of a drama. Just as it was heading towards dusk a few nights ago, one of the horses got out. And I didn't know, and I wouldn't have known except a lovely person who was driving by stopped at the top of our driveway and came down and said that they thought that there was a horse out. And I was like, oh no, what do I do? Because I don't have any experience with horses. Thank goodness they did, and they were able to help me lead the horse back into the paddock. Now, it was almost dark at this point, so that was good. We got the horse back in, they left, and then I was stuck thinking, what am I going to do about this fence? Because if the horse got out once, it sure was going to try and get out again. So I went and had a look, and I could see that the post had slipped. It's an old post and the bottom had rotted away, and also the hole had washed out a little bit, so I wasn't able to put it back in properly. So it was about probably 2 meters worth of fence that was sort of laying down enough that a horse could step over. In the paddock, I was able to use some posts and tape that had been protecting a tree from the horses. So I grabbed all of those posts. They were just stuck in the ground, and it was just tape that had been weaved in and out. So I grabbed that and kind of dragged it all over in one horrible messy piece in the half dark, and was able to get enough of the tape unwound and kind of stick a few spikes in and temporarily sort of push the fence up and put this in place across the gaps so that it was a deterrent. And thank goodness it was enough of a deterrent. The horses were all still in the paddock in the morning. Then what I had to do was make a more permanent solution. The fence we'll have to look at a later date, but in terms of just making sure that nothing got out at this point. So I grabbed all those posts and unwound all of the tape, set them across the area, and then wove the white tape through to set up a fence in front of the fence. It's still standing, even though we've had some very windy, gusty weather the last few days. So hopefully it's enough until we have a chance to properly mend the fence. And with the very windy, gusty weather, we've had a tree come down across another area of the fence. Thank goodness we don't have any cows in that paddock at the moment, so it's not such a big issue to get it fixed or taken away straight away. The top wire snapped, but the rest is okay. So just need to get a chainsaw, which is not my area of expertise, and clear that tree away. But what I will probably have to do today or tomorrow is go for a walk around the rest of the boundary and see if there's any other issues with the fences, especially now in the horse paddock, just to make sure that it is secure and safe for the horses. Last week I shared with you that I am knitting a pair of socks. That was a bit of an unexpected project for Kate from Unwind. Now I was going to give you a little quick peek at the progress, and I'm hoping that by the end of next week I will have quite a lot of the lace part done so that I can take them to Bendigo to show her. Here is the sock. I'm doing them 2 at a time on 2 circular needles, just so that I make sure that everything turns out exactly the same. So I've just turned the heel. It's really hard to see because it's black yarn, but there's the heel there. And I've just started the first row of the lace pattern. So I am really looking forward to getting into the lace section. I think that's going to be a whole lot of fun to see how that comes out. Speaking of Bendigo, for those who don't know, that's the Australian Sheep and Wool Show, which is on next weekend. I'm really excited to go. Me and my friend Amy go every year. We make a whole weekend of it. We spend some time crafting together. We then go to the show for the day, and then we go back to her place and we do some more crafting, maybe some cheese and wine. So it's a really nice weekend and a whole lot of fun. Now I've been going for a lot of years now, so I kind of have a bit of a system to how I get myself ready. I like to look through my stash first before I go, so I know what colours I have or don't have, what kind of yarns I have. And I also like to look through my queue and the patterns that I have bought already from Ravelry, just to get a bit of an idea of if there's something in particular that I should be looking to buy for. And if I decide that there's a particular project, what I'll normally do is write down the amount of yarn, the weight of yarn that it is, and any other details that I might need for the pattern. And then I have that on hand, and if I find some yarn that is suitable, then I know that I've got enough for that project. And it kind of keeps me on task a little bit too, because you don't just go, oh, pretty. But I think this year I will probably focus more on looking at fibre and trying to find some new and different fibres to continue my learning to spin. So I certainly have a lot of stash, and I have my own hand-dyed stash, so I really don't need to add there, but I do need to try and expand my spinning. I also think it's important to set yourself a budget before you go. That way you don't get carried away. So what I normally do is get cash out, and that is what I have to spend. And that way I know that when that's gone, that's it. There's also things that I've learned about just attending the day and how to make sure you can get the best out of it. So here's a few of my tips. The first thing I would do is buy my ticket in advance. We've done that the last few years, and it saves on queuing. There's always a bit of a queue at the front gate. I wear gumboots with inner soles in them. That makes them comfortable, and it's also quite practical. You're at the showgrounds in Bendigo. It can be wet and muddy, it's cold, and you're going from like an oval into pavilions where there are animals and things like that. So it's good to have some kind of protective footwear. I also layer up my clothes as well, often with thermals underneath. Then you can sort of wear a pair of jeans or something and it's not going to be too cold. And then layer your knitwear jumper or whatever on top. And I'll also be wearing a beanie and probably fingerless mitts as well. I find they're good because you can keep them on all the time. You can kind of scrunch them up over your fingers when you're walking around outside, and then when you're in the pavilions looking at the yarn, you can fold them down, and then you can still have your fingers free to touch all of the beautiful yarn and fibre. It's also really good to have a water bottle or a thermos of tea. It's a big day and you kind of do forget to drink a little bit, so if you've got something with you, then that really helps. And I take a crossbody handbag, that way you've got your hands free to shop. And then I put a foldable shopping bag inside that bag that I can then use to put my purchases in as I go along. And then we also have our system for shopping as well. We get in, we generally would grab a cup of coffee, and we'll just start wandering around to all of the stalls and try and make sure that we see everything. Obviously we have our favourites that we definitely want to go to, but it's also great to see what's new and different. So we check everything out and tend to not purchase anything in the morning unless it's very clear that it's the only one of that thing and we feel that it's an absolute must-have. Then we take some time and stop for lunch, perhaps check out the sheepdog trials or go and look at some sheep as well. And then after that, we would then go back to the shops that we have loved and that we want to purchase from. That way, we're not carrying around our purchases all day, and also too, you're not getting anything that really impulsive. You've had a chance to look at everything that's available, look at the prices, and also look at the colors and the styles and all that kind of thing, and able to make a real informed decision about what you want to get. If you're going to Bendigo, I hope you have an awesome time and come back with some amazing new yarns and fibres for new projects for the year. I always find it a really inspiring and creative thing to go to. I really love seeing the patterns that everyone else has knit and is wearing and sharing that with everyone. I'll be there in my quiet stars, so if you see me, come and say hi. Well, that's it for another week. Thanks for spending some time with me. If you're enjoying these videos, please give me a thumbs up, or perhaps comment if there's something you're interested in, and please subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you next week on the farm. Bye.